there was no clarity on the kind of business owner I wanted to be because I just went from thing to thing. Now, knowing that everything's taken care of, I have this freedom to imagine, how do I want to show up? What am I passionate about? And when I do those things, I can tell a huge difference.
You're listening to The Successful Bookkeeper with your host, Michael Palmer. Listen each week as inspiring guests share their secrets of success to help you increase your confidence, work smarter, and build a business you love. This episode of The Successful Bookkeeper is brought to you by PureBookkeeping.com, the proven system to grow your bookkeeping business.
Welcome back to the Successful Bookkeeper Podcast. I am your host, Michael Palmer, and now it's part 2 of our 2-part series with bookkeeping business owner Ashley Chamberlain. In this conversation, she'll share the power of outsourcing, which has helped her greatly to balance her business and her family life. All right, let's get to that conversation. Now, when it comes to your life, you know, you were working a job, you had this business going. How did you manage the rest of life? I mean, some of my notes here talk about delegation, hiring cleaners, like getting stuff off your plate. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, that was so working 45 plus hours a week at a job, then coming home and doing what needed to be done for my business. I was still in that situation where I felt like I'm not super present in my home like I want to be. So I really had to do, I hate to say it because I know it's a terrible, awful thing to go through, but a time audit. And I had to look at, what am I spending my time doing that I could allow someone else to do? And I don't think I would have known what those things were if I didn't stop and audit what I was doing. Because in my mind, I thought, well, I'm doing things because nobody else can do it. Nobody else can clean my house. Nobody else can watch my kids the same way that I watch them. Nobody else can post the things on social media like me. And it's such a wrong way to look at it, because what I found was when I started writing down the things that I was doing every single day, Sunday through Saturday, there was never any breaks for myself or my family. So I was either hustling around trying to do something or hustling my kids around. And once I did that time on it, I realized, okay, this is what I'm doing. What do I love doing? What am I great at? What do I want to keep doing? Or what can I have someone else help with? And that was what really led to the first hire was a babysitter. And my husband, being a musician, he is gone most of the weekend nights. So he works a normal Monday through Friday, but the evenings during the weekend, he's playing gigs. And I didn't have any resentment towards that. I had resentment towards what I felt like I had to do, which is be a present mom and work on my business. So my husband was the one that said, why don't you hire a babysitter those nights and then you go work in a coffee shop or go do something. So I hired the babysitter. I went on care.com, found a phenomenal babysitter. She was so sweet. My little ones called her Princess Claire. And she would come over and they had more fun with Claire than they were having with me. So that made me feel so much joy to know I'm paying someone for a job. So in my mind, I'm helping someone, but I'm also making my little ones' evenings so much more fun. And that sometimes I would go and work in a coffee shop, but sometimes I would just go and see a movie by myself. So it gave me that freedom to go and do something for myself. And I looked forward to it greatly.
Amazing. So what's cool about that is that you outsourced something that, some people would think, oh, I'm going to hire somebody to do the work that I'm doing, right? You said, look, what are some other things that are happening in my life that I'm doing that I could outsource effectively, but still maintain your area of expertise? It's like you could outsource in the early days. You could say, well, I'm going to hire a bookkeeper, or you could hire somebody to do other things in your life that would give you the time to do the work. I don't think that's often talked about or thought about. And I remember we owned a family bistro, and my mother would say, oh, Sundays are the slowest day and I don't want to pay anyone. So I'm going to go in on Sundays and work Sundays when there's very few clients, whatever, people coming in, customers, I guess we call them there. They're still clients, but it sounds more naturally of customers coming into a bistro. But she would say, well, I'm going to work the slow day. And I'm like, Mom, you should be taking the Sunday off because it's not game day. You should be, work the days that are game days, the Saturdays, the Fridays, the Thursdays, when there's like crazy rushes, people coming in, your best customers are coming in, where you can do the game of your life and then pay the person, because you're going to pay people regardless, pay somebody on Sunday as your day off. And so it's like using your best strength as a business owner in the business and outsource in the early days, outsource the things. Like she was trying to save money, but it's like, yeah, but that's the worst value for saving that money. Whereas if you go and work hard on those Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then takes Sunday off, you're going to be charged back up for the Monday, Tuesday, through the week. So it's just a shift in the way an owner would think about, where should I best be on my team, right? On the field. I love that.
Yeah. And it really, once I did the babysitter, it was like I gave myself permission to almost look for other areas I could do that as well. And I think there's such a stigma with, specifically, I can only speak on my own, perception, but women business owners that are moms, that are wives, that they have to be their own martyr of their story, and that they have to do everything because no one, if they're not doing all the things, then they're not being good at it. And I think that narrative is just so outdated because women are doing so much more than just taking care of their family. And I also thought, okay, how can I take care of my family even better by allowing someone else to come in and do what they're great at? And I noticed that my Sunday mornings, sometimes Saturday mornings, I spent hours cleaning the house. And I thought, how can I either get faster or not have to worry about it? And that was where I brought in a house cleaner, and she started coming in. She came in twice a month, so every other week, and she would just do a deep cleaning. So my time that I spent cleaning my house every single week was cut more. I mean, it was cut almost by a quarter. It took me a quarter of the time to clean because someone else came in and did it every other week. So all I was doing was spot cleaning. And that felt so invigorating, knowing I could help someone do what they're great at and then still get to do a piece of it, because I do like cleaning. It just took so long. So the cleaner that would come in, she was so nice. I gave all the excuses. Oh, you've probably never seen this before. And she's like, I've seen it all. Like, this is nothing. And it gave me permission to keep doing it.
We'll get back to the interview right after this word from our sponsor. Something always comes up when you're running a small business. Well, Gusto's payroll and HR services can make it a little easier. Gusto was designed for you, the small business owner. They take the pain out of running a business. Automatically calculating paychecks, filing payroll taxes, setting up open enrollment. Gusto does it all. Want more? Time tracking, health insurance, 401k, onboarding, commuter benefits, offer letters, access to HR experts. You get the idea. With Gusto, you can focus on the joy of running your business. It's super easy to set up and get started. And if you're moving from another provider, Gusto can transfer all of your data for you. It's no surprise, 94% of customers are likely to recommend Gusto. And here's the best part. Because you're a listener, you get 3 months totally free. All you have to do is go to gusto.com/The Successful Bookkeeper. Again, that's gusto.com/The Successful Bookkeeper. I'm telling you, you're going to love Gusto. Get started today. Thank you for hearing from our sponsor. Now let's get back to the interview. Yes, I love it. It sounds like you're good at hiring people too, because you've got a babysitter that's like having more fun with your kids than they're having with you, which is great. And I would imagine some of that's, you're like, okay, that's like a love-hate relationship.
It is. Like
I know that from my own wife. It's like, she's happy that they're happy, but I'm not happy that they're not,
She's so great.
Yeah, you're so great. Don't outgrade me here. But you did that. You got the good cleaner there. So what is it about the hiring? Did you have to meet with a lot of people, or is it just that you attract the right people in your life? How does that work for you?
I think when it comes to hiring, I try to get crystal clear of the things I want versus things that I don't. So when I put out, I'm hiring for something for my own team. If I say I'm looking for a bookkeeper, I try to say all of the positive things that I would want versus I don't want this. And so, when I'm hiring a bookkeeper, I say I would love a bookkeeper that would want to work from home, that would like flexible hours, that has, this certification, that would love to grow with us. And I put that out there versus saying, I don't want to hire someone who doesn't do this. Keeping all of the negative stuff out attracts the people that want to flock to the positive post. So same with the cleaning company is I reached out to a couple of B&I members and I said, do you know anyone that just loves to clean? And I didn't say a company. I didn't say, a specific requirements for the house. I said, someone that just loves to clean. And I did get several people sent my way, and I met with every single one of them. But my meeting with them was bringing them in my house and having them do a consult. And I watched the way that they moved. I watched the way that they looked at things, and I could see ones that wanted to be there and ones that didn't. It's been that way for every single thing that I've outsourced, that people I've hired. I look for, are they happy to be here? Do they love what they do? Or is this just a job? And that's greatly helped me narrow down the ones that I felt like were aligned with what I needed.
Lovely. It's a great philosophy, to find people that want to do what you don't want to do and love doing it. And so I'm curious. So we got babysitting, we got cleaning. Did you outsource anything else in your life?
So
those are big things.
Yeah, those were the really big ones.
They're huge.
Another one was like cooking. So I
was going to say, imagine outsourcing cooking, and you've done it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm curious. Tell me about this.
Yeah, it can go in a lot of directions. If you have the means to hire a chef, awesome. You are probably on celebrity status. For me, outsourcing my cooking meant finding someone that would sell me what to cook, when to cook. And so I did buy, I think it's thepennypinchers.com. And she created this book that said, Sunday through Saturday, here's the theme, here's some ideas. And instead of me scrolling Pinterest, instead of me trying to think of something every single day, I bought this guide, and it felt like I was outsourcing the time it took for me to plan and just giving it to someone else. They told me exactly what to do, and I still use it. I just flip through pages, choose one from each page, and that's how I do that, which flows into outsourcing who does the grocery shopping. So grocery shopping was another thing that was it just took so long, and there was no joy in it for me. And having multiple kids, and this year we're hosting a foreign exchange student. So we have 3 kids in the house, and they all eat like adults. So there was a lot of thought that had to go into it. But now I look at my penny pincher ideas, and then I use ClickList. So ClickList from the grocery store, someone else is doing all of the grocery shopping, putting it in the bags and bringing it right to my doorstep. So all I have to do is put it away. That's the fun part.
Wow. So ClickList is they're a personal shopper. So we have like, there's one, what's it called? I use it occasionally, but I'm now drawing a blank.
There's Instacart as well.
Instant Cart.
Mhm.
Yes. How is it
Mhm.
different? How is ClickList different than Instant Cart?
ClickList is specific to Walmart. It's the closest
Okay.
super center, but it's basically the same thing. You're putting the order in and they are picking the groceries, putting it in the cart and bringing it to you. And that has saved so much time and energy. I don't have to spend hours at a grocery store anymore.
This is another great example, and I use Instant Cart often. Now I am blessed that I have my mother comes and stays with us. She lives across the country, but because of COVID, she got stuck out here during COVID, and so it became this like, she was like, "Well, I'm here," and it became like this additional person. And what my mother loves to do is cook.
Oh,
And she wakes up and that's her whole life. She wakes up and she searches the internet, just like you were the penny pincher lady. She finds all these things and she plans about it. She goes shopping. She gets it. It's her passion in life is to cook. And so that's like great for us, right? And anyways, when she's not here though, it's like, hello, Instacart, because it's one of those key things. There's a cost to it. But it's like, what's my time worth to go to Costco, because we shop at Costco for the big items and great value there. I love the show. Yeah, I try to stay out of there. If I go in there, it's like cost me way more than Instant
right.
So
spend more money.
It's one of those, what's my time? I'm going to spend it going to Costco, or am I going to just clickety clack and here's my groceries, right? So I still have to cook the stuff and do what I need to do. But that's another form. And some people have a tough time. And even my wife is like, oh, we could go and get those groceries. I'm like, yeah, but your time's worth way more than going down and doing that shopping. But she loves to shop too. So she likes to go to the grocery store. I love this. So you outsourced a piece of the puzzle, not the full cooking, but someone's figuring out what we're going to eat. And you're now outsourcing this to somebody, go pick it all up and have it on your doorstep.
Yep. And they're making money while they're doing it. It's not like they're doing it just to help me out. You know, they make tips and they get a portion of it. The ClickList membership was like $10 a month and then I tip. So for me, you know, it felt like if I spend 3 hours doing this, which is what it would normally be every week, I would make, if it was paying for my time, I'm going to make way more than, $10 an hour. So it felt like such a sense of relief that someone else wanted to do this. Someone else signed up and said, I want to grocery shop for you. It's the way I have to look at it. I want to grocery shop for you and I'm going to get paid while doing it. And it's been such a great thing for our life.
Wow. I love that. So that was another big piece. And what's life been like after you've done all of this outsourcing and changed the way that you live? How's that been on your life?
Well, for the most part, I have weekends back. When I say I have them back, I get to spend them how I want to spend them. I get to go with my mom to get a cup of coffee. My mom lives very close. We're very close. So I get to spend time with her. My kids and I actually get to go and do things while I'm not working. It's so nice. I don't feel like I have to bring my iPad or I don't have to spend hours away from the house dreading it and feeling like I just wish I was home. Sometimes it means I just get to sit on the couch and binge watch something on Netflix, which is a foreign thing. I get to read books again. I have set hours now, and the weekend used to be dreaded. It used to be like, ugh, I'm trading one job for another. But now it feels like, well, I'm just going to put my order in and then they're going to bring it. It's not 3 hours grocery shopping. It makes me feel free again to have that downtime. The other big part of it is involving my family in the need for outsourcing. So there was such guilt in the beginning. I felt like I had to explain myself, telling my mom, telling husband, I think I want to outsource. I think I want to hire a cleaning lady. And I felt like I had to do all this explaining. Like, I just don't feel like I have enough time to do it the way that I want to do it. And it's really bringing me down. My husband was like, you do not have to explain. So now it's, the cleaning ladies are coming this week. Oh, we can't wait. Oh, it's going to smell so good. And they're bringing them into that joy, bringing them into see what it's doing for mom helps so much with my own inner guilt that I used to have. So my 6-year-old says, oh, the cleaning fairies are coming today. So it's become something they all look forward to, not something I did because I didn't have time to do. It's, this is helping everybody.
Wow. It really does sound great. And, that leaves you fresh to work on your business. And have you seen the results show up in your business now that you've gotten, obviously, you're free on the weekends and it's made a big difference for your personal life. How's it showed up in your business part of your life?
So when I felt like I was having to do all the things, personally and professionally, I did not show up the way that I imagined myself showing up as. So showing up on lives, it felt like a chore because I thought I'm going to do this real quick and then I need to go do something else. There was no clarity on the kind of business owner I wanted to be because I just went from thing to thing. Now, knowing that everything's taken care of, I have this freedom to imagine, how do I want to show up? What am I passionate about? And when I do those things, I can tell a huge difference with the outcome. So an example is, I'd never thought I would be the kind of person that would enjoy coming on podcasts. I always thought that sounds so scary. People that go on podcasts have to be celebrities. But now I find myself getting like jitters, like butterflies, like my whole day. I'm going to be talking about this podcast because I cleared my whole day and everything is still taken care of. My accounting manager, I told everybody to take half a day, but my accounting manager, she's very committed. So she's waiting for me to tell her how it went because she's working on the business right now. So things like that, I get to show up and be excited about things again because I know everything else is taken care of.
I love it. That's fantastic. You've in a short period of time in your business, you've done some remarkable things and done a lot of things right. I'd love to know if there's any other, bits of wisdom that you would like to share with our listener in terms of your journey and growing your business.
Oh, so many. Have grace on yourself. That's the hardest part is having some grace on yourself because you're not always going to do the right thing, but you'll never learn if it was the right or wrong thing until you do it. An example is I struggled hiring an assistant. So I hired an accounting manager. She's one of my best friends. I felt like she was my right hand. I hired bookkeepers and accountants. They're phenomenal. But my assistant had been the one position I really struggled with. And I had to stop and think, after 3, I thought, okay, I'm obviously the problem. So what am I doing wrong? And I realized when it came to hiring, I had to hire the person, not just the role. And so that was a thing I was doing wrong. Was I had all of these expectations and I would give them the list and I would say, can you do this? And they would say yes. And then I wasn't communicating well to what I wanted. And then I would get frustrated and then I would blame it on them. And then I would say, you know what, this isn't working out. And then I would try again and it would happen again. And so recently I hired this phenomenal girl. I hired the person. So I got to know her. I knew her because I know some of her family. She's local, but I knew she might not know how to do everything on the list yet, but she is so passionate. She's so good with people. She knows a few of the things I need on the list, but she's so eager to learn. So hiring the person greatly affected how things are done now. And so that was one of the biggest mistakes is you need some roles, you have to have certain certifications and they have to fit into, the list. But other roles, you have to think, am I hiring the person or the role? Because if it's the person, then you have to have patience with yourself and be willing to learn things about yourself and move forward with it. So That was one of the hardest lessons that I constantly felt like, what is wrong? Why is this not working? And it was me. That was the problem.
Wow. Great advice. And I love that, be graceful or have grace on yourself. Another big theme from this episode. Absolutely fantastic. If there's anything else, any other bits of wisdom you'd love to share, I'd love to hear it. This has been chock-a-block full of great tips and your experience. So it's been fantastic.
Oh, thank you so much. I want to just leave with anyone that listens to this and feels in a similar position to, I have to do it all because no one can do it as good as I do. Any part, business or personal, I'm here to say that's just not true. There are people that need you, those people being the ones closest to you, and you don't have to do everything yourself and feel like a failure half the time when you can't get it done. So allow someone else to do those things that they're really good at, because people need people. So let's leave with that, because that is the biggest part of outsourcing.
Beautiful. Amazing experiences, amazing learnings today. I just absolutely love it. If people were interested in learning more about you, what is the best way for them to do that? Make sure they can find you. Of course, we'll have those links in the show notes, but I'd love for you to voice it here as well.
Sure. So I show up heavily on Facebook or Instagram, and you can find me at Ashley Chamberlain. Our business page is Chamberlain and Good Company, or our website, which is chamberlainandgoodcompany.com. We have all kinds of stuff on there that you can see, other podcasts or contact form, and let's just try to get to know each other.
Beautiful. Beautiful. We will have those show notes in there. There's one last piece that it's like the Columbo here. You talk about 3,000 hours of service on your bio. Tell us about the 3,000 hours of service. Yeah,
it's crazy. It hasn't come up in my story. A huge part of trying to find time in my day was because I was volunteering at our local women's shelter. It's very near and dear to my heart to help women in a time that they just feel like they have nowhere else to go. And that was another big reason that led me to outsourcing, because I thought those hours that I'm spent doing things that I don't love, I'd rather spend doing things I do. So I spent a lot of time at the Louisville Women's Shelter. I've spent some time at Jacob's Well, which is a transition housing for domestic violence survivors. So all of that time being spent there, I created a financial literacy program for the women that are basically starting over. So this was a way for them to go through the program. I don't even have to run it anymore because I outsourced it to one of the people at the shelter. But they go through the program. It's about 6 weeks, and they learn how to fix their credit, how to open a bank account with no money, just the normal things that I say normal, but people just don't come away from high school knowing, and it helps them get back on their feet. So a lot of the service time was spent creating that program, running that program, and showing up at the shelter.
Wow. I'm glad I asked. That is touching, misty-eyed here. Thank you for the contribution you make to society. That's fantastic. Not only a great bookkeeper, helping business owners do better in their business, which has a ripple effect to their staff, to the community, but you're also down at the shelters helping women that and their families, connected families, get back on their feet and re-enter the world powerfully with financial literacy. Absolutely remarkable. Such a pleasure. Such a great person. Love it.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Well, this has been an absolute pleasure, Ashley, having you on the show, touching our listeners' live, but also touching mine. Some great tidbits of how you've grown your business. I just want to thank you from my whole heart, and I know our listeners' heart, for your generosity and coming on the show and sharing what you know today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate this opportunity.
What a remarkable conversation with Ashley. A big thank you to her for being on the show, and I hope you, the listener, took away some tips that can be helpful to you in some way. And with that, we wrap another episode of the Successful Bookkeeper Podcast. To learn more about today's wonderful guest and to get access to all sorts of valuable free business building resources, you can go to thesuccessfulbookkeeper.com. Until next time, goodbye.
You've been listening to The Successful Bookkeeper with Michael Palmer. For more information and to download the resources mentioned in this episode, please visit us at thesuccessfulbookkeeper.com. Thank you for listening.